me.
Oh my gosh.
She beat me to it.
We are so excited to have our good friend, Ben Scheerer, who is the Senior Principal Product Marketing Manager at Red Hat.
That's right.
Woo, we got that right.
And he's a principal because he controls the children.
Yes.
That's what he does.
And they go to his office when they're
in trouble. That's right. That's exactly right.
So Ben, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to have get with you guys again and have a great conversation. So looking forward to it.
Yep.
Well, we're already jealous. We know you're in your lake house near Lake Michigan.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. Would you tell us a little bit about Red Hat, about your role there? Just kind of give us some background there
The
for
lowdown
people that might not know.
That's right. The skinny on Ben Scheerer at Red Hat.
The skinny.
Great. Well, so when people who are not in the high tech industry think of Red Hat, they think of that Red Hat society of the older ladies that wear those red hats.
Yes.
No, I don't work for them.
Good. Thank you.
I
Note
do,
to self.
however, work for a high-tech company called Red Hat. And what Red Hat has done is actually the roots of the company is taken open source, which is software that is open to anyone to use and modify and develop on, and community driven. So people just contribute like out of the goodness of their heart to make really good software. And one of the biggest first open source projects was the Linux operating system. What Red Hat had done is taken Linux and actually improved upon it, provided support, contributed to it, and then packaged it up, made a distribution of that software that was commercially available. So then companies could get all the goodness of open source, these big communities that contributed, but also with the support of an actual company so they could use it commercially and it would be safe, it would be reliable, it would be secure, and economical. So Red Hat's probably one of the first companies to really leverage that business model and become very successful at it. So, of course, over the years, and we're talking 20 at this point, Red Hat has taken other open source type initiatives and projects and been able to build a commercial model around them while still giving back to the community. So literally you could go as any user and grab any of the core pieces of the software that we develop upon and use them yourself for no charge, right? So,
yep.
And that includes things like, development platforms. So a lot of back office stuff, a lot of consumers don't see what we do, but probably Red Hat Linux is our biggest, most identifiable product. And then just about 6 years ago, IBM purchased Red Hat. So we are a wholly owned subsidiary of IBM.
I'm curious, Ben, if you've ever had to enter. I'm a nerd. I'm sure most of
for
people
those of you that don't know,
in
which
our audience
is probably
know that.
0.00001% of the population.
Yeah. Have you gotten into an active debate about whether it's pronounced Linux or Linux?
I have not. I think that debate has happened. I think it's commonly known within Red Hat as Linux, so I accept it as such.
I've never heard it any other way.
Yeah, it was created. One of the founders was Linus Torvald, and the thought was that it came from that line X, right? So
Yes.
I'm a nerd.
Yes.
That's going deep into my nerd well. That's
so. Tell us a little bit about kind of your role and what you do at Red Hat.
Yeah, sure. Happy to share. So I've been in the high-tech industry for all my career, right? And as you can tell, it's been several years. And been with Red Hat probably for the last, I think I'm going on my 5th year now. So what I have been doing is a lot of kind of product go-to-market, kind of focused a lot on the competitive differentiation, or what I like to call competitive marketing. So that's been kind of my niche in my career. However, I've always kind of held on to that product marketing kind of role where even the project I've been on the last couple of years has really had not a lot to do with competitive, but just kind of bringing not even a product to market, but more of, making our products available to be consumed in the cloud. So that's what I've been working on recently. But prior to that, even with companies, my previous company was VMware, which is a pretty well-known company in the space, and we did a lot with kind of positioning, product marketing, go-to-market type messaging and research on competitive products and kind of understanding our market niche, looking at different technologies that might be potential acquisitions and all that kind of good stuff.
Very cool.
Does that answer the question?
So I have a question because I am not a nerd.
Liar. She's a liar.
She's
a nerd in different ways.
I'm just curious.
Come on.
How has AI or ChatGPT affected the work that you do?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's going to, if it hasn't affected everything by now, it will. Also, just to bring in another dimension, I'm actually I sit on a school board. So I think it's even more impactful in our local schools that, we look at how we handle this evolution of artificial intelligence on the learning of our kids. So I digress a little bit, but so go back to technology. Red Hat is actually in a good position to really capitalize on this. And I say that because AI is coming at our customers at all different angles, meaning, what AI models do we develop? How we integrate that into our business? How do we make sense out of this? And of course, there's an open source component of this called OpenAI. And so a lot of our customers are confused as to, what models do we implement and embrace from OpenAI to build applications or meaningful platforms for our business. Actually, Red Hat has some products that and the ability to make these technologies available to corporate and enterprise and governmental customers without the risk of it being unsupported or something that won't kind of fit into what their current IT strategy is. So I've kind of answered your question in a roundabout way because I'm talking about how we as a company are leveraging it. I think AI is going to be everywhere, whether we like it or not. My job function, do I run stuff through ChatGPT to, see how they would term something? Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you? So do I rely on what ChatGPT tells me or provides me as information? No, there's still kind of what's called hallucinations and AI is not. It's just kind of they're filling the gaps of things that they might not know with just kind of made up jargon. So you still have to you have to feed it the right data, tell it where to find the data, and then go ahead and fact check it in the back end. But it does, it's just going to be part of our daily lives, and it already is.
Yeah. I'm curious to know what you think then, Ben. What's fascinating about AI is how much it can change, how much data it can have access to, how quickly it can process and tell you something. And yet the relationships that we have are with humans, not necessarily with our machines, although one could arguably say that we have great relationships with our machines.
My machine loves me.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It knows exactly what I want. So I'm curious to know, you've been in a lot of teams, you've been in some very high-powered organizations as well as high-powered roles. And what do you find from a human standpoint are those skills that are missing among leaders, among teams, among people that you think no matter how much AI is going to be out there, we still have to figure out how to do?
Good question.
Yeah, and that's a great lead into a lot of good insights that maybe I could draw from. I still think there's, and you hit the nail on the head, Bruce, there's still that human element. There's still kind of the critical thinking and the problem solving skills that without the right coaching of AI, they're not going to give you that. And there's things, it's really the ability to identify those complex problems that's essential for kind of the ever-changing business environment. AI is not going to be able to help you much with that or help predict that. Can it provide data points to help you decide? Absolutely. really creativity and innovation skills. AI can't really provide those type of skill sets. That's something that's, in my opinion, innately human. So creative thinking, innovative thinking, different ways of doing things certainly is something that's still human centric.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is just communication skills, right? You have to be a communicator. You have to be able to communicate to stakeholders, to different, people in your organization, be able to have those conversations and deduce that conversation into something that's actionable. So those are just a few of them, but
those are great. So question for you. So I think when I think about kind of some challenges on the communication side when it comes to folks who are pretty technical and those maybe that aren't, there seems to be this, missing bridge between the two kind of components or types of personalities in terms of how they can communicate and how they can understand each other. You've been in technology a long time. We've known you for quite a while. What do you think is maybe in your, from your perspective, a really great thing technical and technical folks can do to maybe bridge the gap between themselves to understand, appreciate, respect, and trust each other more when they're so vastly different in what they do day to day, and also sometimes how their brains work?
Yeah, that's really, really good. And good question. I think that is going through my career past 20 plus years is like, what skill did I bring, or what innately did I have in my brain that would allow me to kind of grasp onto technology? And I wouldn't say that I'm a technologist, even though I played that role and I did all right there, but that wasn't my drive. And those guys are much smarter than me, right? Or those people, guys and gals. On the other side is like, am I a pure marketer? Am I, someone who looks to drive pipelines and create campaigns? No, I don't do that stuff, but I'm kind of right in the middle, right? I'm creative. I try to bridge the gap between kind of the layman and the expert and put it into speak that people can understand, right? And I always thought, like in this industry too, if you just step away from it for a minute, like you're already years behind. So being plugged in certainly is a benefit. And it's just a genuine interest level. And I think that, there's still that opportunity to just see what's going on in the news, see what's going on in technology, even if you follow the stocks or follow, the market, like, why are some of these tech stocks doing well? And what are they doing, right? What are they actually producing? And some of that in itself is super confusing, right? Like, what does this company actually do? But they're gaining the attention of investors. So in the business world, that's kind of my first 30, 40 minutes of my day. It's kind of just looking at what's going on and kind of looking at different social media outlets to see how folks are responding. And it's easy to get very broad. I have to just stay focused because that's what fuels my career.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because in my mind, what you've said is stay curious. I think it's easy to be technical and get so caught up in what you do from the day to day that you're not really curious about what's going on outside of you because you're providing something that is, complex and difficult. And then on the flip side, to feel like, well, I couldn't understand what they do. So why even bother? I'm not going to connect with them. So staying open and curious of one another and what your interests are, and even like to your point, what the market is bearing is really cool.
Well, and I would also say that it's important to realize as we have these multiple generations, right? A whole new generation that's coming into the marketplace that lost 2 to 3 years of social exposure and social experience, right? Yeah. That those skills that we learn in the latter part of our high school years and the early part. I mean, we share children who are similarly aged. Full disclosure, Ben's son used to date our daughter, so no comment. Yes. But that is what used to happen, and
we're all still friends.
That's right. We survived. And what's amazing is how different they are. I don't know if you've had this experience, Ben. Our 21-year-old, our daughter, man, you ask her to pick up the phone and make a phone call, and you think we've cut off a limb. Like, it is the most painful thing she's ever done in her life.
Can I just text them, or
and so we're in this transition of how to figure out how we communicate effectively to these different groups of people, and it's different, right? At least in my understanding and impression, it seems different. What's your take?
Well, this really leads into one of my kind of core soft skills that you still need to have, right? And that's the ability, and this is where AI can help you. It's the ability to be adaptable and agile, right? So you can't, what's Facebook in our kids' eyes? That's like the old people platform, and it's all Snapchat and Insta and TikTok, right? So it's and believe it or not, I'm not even on TikTok. So it's like, and I would never think there's a platform I wouldn't be on, but it's like that. None of my friends are on that. Why would I be on TikTok?
Yeah. Right.
So, other than this, is this going on TikTok, by the way?
We'll put a small snippet on TikTok, likely. So
yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. Being flexible and adaptable is critical and key. And I think, it oftentimes, because us and that's kind of the framework in which we play, right? The developing an improv mindset, the ability to be more agile and flexible and comfortable in ambiguity. People don't understand that that is a muscle you can build, and that your brain, the more you are in uncomfortable situations and trust those around you and trust yourself to kind of navigate that, the more your brain kind of says, oh, hey, I didn't die. The sky didn't fall, the world didn't explode, and we're all going to get through this. And just that alone really helps condition your mind in being able to manage the next kind of uncertain times. So, love it.
Change is difficult. Change is difficult. And growing up kind of in the high tech sector, it's like you just, my career path has been like, I have had one job that I think I got 10 years in. Second one was close to 9, and that's like a lifetime at a company.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially now we're seeing people move a lot quicker.
18 months to 24 months.
Whereas even our parents' generation, they were at a job for 40 years. Yeah. And so another question. Yeah. I think sometimes we ask folks that we chat with, like, what's the best piece of advice they've ever been given? I kind of want to ask you, what advice would you give someone who's, maybe in technology or even in kind of marketing of technology and product? What advice would you give them kind of going into industry now that you think would help them be more successful in their new roles?
Yeah, and that's a good question as well. And I think that when I think about that question, I think it's like really basic, right? And I give my kids career advice all the time, right? It's probably you do as well. It's like, it's a pretty simple formula to do well in business and in life. You just, you work hard, you work smart, and, show up on time, and, those type of things. But I think my best piece of advice, and I kind of look back on my career, and it's like, really never stop learning, right? Mm-hmm. And don't be hesitant to learn from those who might, if you've been around for many years and been in the industry for, a couple decades like I have, there might be folks that are, 10, 20 years your junior, but gosh, that's a tap of knowledge that you can tap into. And these, people have different perspectives. They help. I'm always learning. I can be a mentor, but also a mentee. And, the business world is constantly changing. So it's important to stay up to date, always on the latest trends and technologies like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's a great point, especially with what Bruce was saying kind of earlier with this idea of just different generations. And I mean, I think back to when I was entering into the workforce, and there's definitely this sense of I know more, I'm fresh, I'm young, I'm energetic.
That's just Gail.
and I think it's easy to discount someone even who didn't grow up wholly in the technology that you are an expert at, or in industry. And at the same time, to your point, there's just a wealth of information that we all carry around with us. Yep. And I think if you're not growing, you're dying. So staying open and curious and wanting to continue learning is just such a smart piece of advice for everyone. So I love it.
All right, Ben, so our last question for you. You ready? All right, here it goes. What are you looking forward to? What's inspiring you right now? What has captured your interest
making you happy?
That you just are like, wow, this is really cool.
Personal or professional?
Personal or professional.
Yeah, so that's I think about that question, and I think as I've grown older, and maybe I've always had it. Maybe I'm a little ADHD, right? Like I like focusing on a lot of things. I like doing projects. I like, Kathy, my wife, says to me something. It's like, why don't make sure you see these things through before you do them? And it's like, I've always had a lot of ideas. I think I like to do things. I like to stay engaged. I like to try new things. Maybe some of those hobbies that I've tried in the past, I just, I get rid of that stuff. I don't hang on to like, okay, I'm going to come back to this sometime, right? So. So right now, we talked about this up to leading to our conversation. I picked up golf 4 years ago. So, let me see if I can actually get to a respectable handicap, right? Whatever that might be. Picking up pickleball. So that's another thing, right? As the joints are getting older and it's becoming more competitive and a lot of fun. So fully jumping into that. Enjoying the family and travel and all that. And my career is, I think, working for a company that supports you, that is definitely, on a track to be, support what your career goals are and aspirations is which Red Hat does for me is fantastic. Like, it's great.
I love that.
Something that makes me feel more complete. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yes, meaning in work, isn't that? It seems like an oxymoron, and yet really should be more of what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding meaning in work.
Yeah.
I love my time off, but I take advantage of my time working. Working in general. So whether it's for Red Hat or on my own endeavors.
Awesome. Oh, Ben, thank you so much for spending
some time
pleasure with us. It was great to catch up with you and hear more about your role and everything you're doing. And I guess if there's anything I could really add, it would be that I hope I can get a handicap in golf too.
Oh, you have one.
Oh, yeah. It's a big handicap.
I know. It's not good. It's not good. Hopefully it'll get better. And I want to hear about this pickleball experience too, because we have yet to play that.
We keep hearing it's great. So,
I think you guys would be able to jump right into that. That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ben. It's great to see you.
Thanks, Ben. Good to see you.
Thanks, guys. You too.